Vande Mataram. I'm your teacher of English. Students, you know that this is the very crucial and very critical time through which we all are passing. You all are aware that this pandemic situation is great threatening for the human life. I know you all are very intelligent, very much wise too, and you are aware with the situation. So you'll have to keep yourselves safe, and you'll have to keep in your mind that you are maintaining the social distance. You'll have to use sanitizer regularly, wash your hands properly or after interval of time, and you'll have to keep the mask over your face properly. It will keep you safe and away from COVID 19. Students, I know you all are very important for the nation, for the society, for your teacher, for your well-wisher, for your school too. And that's why we all your teachers are trying our level best to provide all those requirements, fulfill your all those requirements which will help you in your education. And I hope that you all are also getting benefited from this. Students, I know that your parents, your guardians are taking care a lot and loving you a lot, and to return their love and care, you will have to keep yourself safe. I know you are following the norms, following the rules which will prevent you from getting affected from COVID 19. So let us start our class without wasting our time. In the live classes, we are learning about subject-verb agreements. And in this video, I will also try my level best to provide the more convenient way and the examples to clarify this grammatical portion. But before we start this part of grammar, the question rises in our mind: why should we learn this subject-verb agreement? What is the use of it? We always try to grab all those things which are beneficial and useful in our daily life. So, is it beneficial for you to learn subject-verb agreement? Yes, it is beneficial. It is necessary. Why? Because you all are aware with the fact the English language had become international language, and it has become the most important part of the personality too. So if we speak, if we write, our writing or speaking are correct, the sentences which we are using are grammatically correct, it leaves a great impression on the listeners and the person who is listening you. So this is going to help you and avoid you the grammatical mistakes in the formation of sentences. Subject-verb agreements, as this title is clarifying, we are going to learn the agreement of two terms, that is, one is subject and other is verb. Sometimes we get confused which auxiliary verb should be used with which subject. So how can we avoid this confusion, and how can we come out from this problem? So this is the way what I'm going to provide you. You will learn, and I'm damn sure that your sentences will always be correct. Your error in subject-verb agreement will never take place. I will try my level best to give the example in the most suitable way to make you understand, to clarify the topic and subject matter. So let us start. Subject-verb agreement. Basic rule. What is the basic rule? The fundamental rule. You all are aware with the fact there are two types of subjects, or the subject can be categorized in two categories. One is singular, other is plural. Only the two types of subjects can be used in a sentence. One may be singular, other may be plural. So if the two types of subjects are, it means the auxiliary verbs should also be two types. And if the subject is singular, auxiliary verb must be singular. And if the subject is plural, auxiliary verb must be plural. And if we are finding ourselves unable to recognize the subject, whether it is singular or plural, we will have to keep some rules in our mind. And these rules I am going to present on your screen and you will be able to learn. So here you can read, singular subject must have singular verbs and plural subject take plural verbs. So this is the basic fundamental rule. And the agreement means use. Here agreement means use. The subject, we will have to categorize the subject, and after that we will have to decide the auxiliary verb. So this is the agreement of the subject and verb. So first of all, first rule, the pronoun you always takes a plural verb. You is used for the single person as well as the more than one. If I am going to talk about a single boy or single girl, I will call you. And if the many children are sitting together, in that situation, I will use the same word, you. So this you is used for the single and the more than one. It means it can be used as a singular subject as well as a plural subject. That's why we should use always a plural verb with you. We are not going to think, we should not think whether I am talking about a single person or a group of person. Just keep in your mind, if the subject is you, the auxiliary verb must be plural. So it is the first rule, the pronoun you always takes a plural verb. In example, you can see, you were invited to come. It's not clear here, this you pronoun is used for a single one or the many people, but the auxiliary verb that is underlined here were, that is plural. You were invited to come. So what, first of all, auxiliary verbs. I'm talking on taking the name of this auxiliary. What is auxiliary verb? And which verbs will be called auxiliary? So first, I'm not going to make it lengthy. You'll have to keep in mind is, am, are, has, have, shall, will, was, were, has been, have been. These are the auxiliary verbs. So whether the another kind of verbs also, yes, the main verb. And we are not going to discuss about the main verb, but as an example, I would like to tell you main verbs, all the action words, those words which are telling about the action, the work, such as singing, playing, reading, speaking, laughing, jumping. These are the action words and the main verbs. But in this lesson, we are going to learn about the auxiliary verbs. And I have given the example of auxiliary. Is, am, are, has, have, shall, will, had, has been, have been. These are the auxiliary. So here with you, we have used the auxiliary word, that is plural. You are asked to clean. Here are is also plural verb. You sing so well. You will find here there is no auxiliary. It is the sentence of simple present, a statement of simple present, and in a statement of simple present we don't use any auxiliary. If the negative and interrogative sentences would come, we will use auxiliary in the form of do or does. but in the statements we use main verb only. So why have I used you sing so well? Why did I not write sings? Students, it should be clear in your mind that when we add s or es with the verb, it becomes singular. It's totally different from noun. If you are going to add s or es in noun, it will become plural. But if we are going to add s or es in the main verb, it will become opposite, singular. And that's why we have not added here s or es. And sing, V1 form is a plural form. That's why we have used here you sing so well. So in all these three sentences, you found that the auxiliary verbs, the verb forms have used are plural in form. So I think and hope that this first rule is clear to you all. We are going on the second rule. Second rule tells us if a sentence begins with here or there, the verb agrees with the subject which follows it. What does it mean? If the sentence is going to begin with here or there, in that situation, we will have to use auxiliary just after that. But that auxiliary will be decided by the subject which will come after the auxiliary. So first of all, we will have to keep in mind that which type of subject we are going to use. In example, it can be clear. Here are the ways on how to preserve meat. What is subject here? The ways. That comes after auxiliary. Here are the ways. The ways decides. The ways had used as a subject, and it is deciding that the auxiliary verb should be plural because the ways is a plural noun. And if you are going to write way without s, it will become singular. So what will happen if we are going to write here? Here dash the way on how to preserve meat. Here dash the way, not ways. Here dash the way on how to preserve meat. In that situation, we will see that way is singular form of noun, and so subject is singular. And in that situation where I am telling dash, we will use the is or was. Here is the way on how to preserve meat. The ways means plural subject, and we are using plural verb are. And when it will become way, that will become singular subject, and we will use is, that will be the singular verb. The second sentence is also clarified. There is a huge gap between the rich and the poor. There is a huge gap. What is subject here? If you will try to find out the subject here, you will find huge gap. That is gap. Gap is working as a subject. Gap is working as a subject, and gap is in singular form or plural form. So we know it very well that gaps will be plural, and so it is in singular form. So if the subject is singular, here we have used is. There is a huge gap. Subject is gap and it is singular, so verb has used here is singular. Let us change it. There dash huge gaps between the rich and the poor. There dash huge gaps between the rich and the poor. I'm telling gaps, not gap. Gaps, adding s. So what will be actually verb here? We are finding that when we are going to add s in gap, it will become plural, and that's why the verb must be plural. So we will use are at the place of dash. There are huge gaps between the rich and the poor. So I hope this rule is clear to you all. Now we are going to proceed on the third rule. What is this third rule? If two subjects, one single and one plural are connected by either or neither nor, the verb agrees with the nearer subject. What does it mean? If the two subjects are going to be used, one of the subject will be singular and other will be plural, and we have to use the verb. How will decide the which form of verb will be used? Because here are the two types of subjects. One is singular, other is plural. Who will get importance? Which subject will get importance? Singular subject or plural subject? So it will be decided that which subject is near to the auxiliary. The subject which will be near to the auxiliary will get importance, and auxiliary verb will be used according to that one. With example, it's going to clear. Here, neither the players nor the coach is joining. There are two subjects. What are these two subjects are? Players and coach. Players are in plural form and coach is in singular form. So if we are going to use auxiliary according to players, it should be plural. And if we are going to use the auxiliary according to coach, it should be singular. But in the rule it has already cleared that the subject which is near to the auxiliary will get importance and auxiliary will be used according to it. So here players is very far away from the auxiliary verb is. Near this coach is nearer to the auxiliary verb is. And that's why coach is singular, and that's why the auxiliary verb used here is singular, that is. Interchange it. Let us interchange. If the sentence would be like that, neither the coach nor the players dash joining. Players is taking the place of coach and coach is taking the place of player. Interchange them. In that situation we will find that players will come near to the auxiliary verb, and if the player is near to the auxiliary verb, players, that is plural, we will use here are instead of is, because the plural subject will be near to the auxiliary verb, and that's why auxiliary verbs should be plural. Second example, it's also going to clarify it. Either the conductor or the singers are attending the concert. Here two subjects, one is conductor, other is singers. Conductor is singular form, singers is plural form. So which subject will get importance and auxiliary will be used according to that? In the beginning I had told that the subject which is nearer to the auxiliary will get importance and auxiliary will be used according to that. So here you are finding that singers, that is plural, near to the auxiliary verb, and that's why we have used plural auxiliary are. Singers is a plural subject, and that's why we have used the plural verb are. If the sentence is going to form like that, if we are going to interchange these subjects, replace them with each other, and we will write like that: either the singers or the conductor. Singers is taking the place of conductor and conductor is taking the place of singers. So in that situation, what will be auxiliary verb? The conductor will be the singular subject, and that's why we will use here is instead of are, because the singular subject will be near to the auxiliary verb. So I hope that this rule is clear. If the two subjects are used in the same sentence, one is singular and other is plural, we will have to keep it in mind the subject that will be near to the verb, auxiliary verb, will get importance and auxiliary verb will be used according to that subject. And I hope it is clear and you will keep it in your mind. Now we are going on the third rule. Next rule, fourth rule. A singular subject followed by intervening words or phrases such as with, as well as, in addition to, accompanied by, together with, and no less than takes a singular verb. This rule is telling if the subject is singular and the subject is in the beginning of the sentence and after that some intervening obstacle, the words or the phrases comes and after that another noun in the plural form has used. Such type of sentence will become confusing. If you will see, it will appear that it is very difficult to decide whether I am using the auxiliary is correct or wrong, such as Jack, and the word that is intervening or creating the obstacle is accompanied. Jack, accompanied by his sisters, is enrolling in PCC. Here the subject is singular used. Here is subject is singular, name of a boy, Jack, and the Jack is accompanied or he is with his sisters. Sisters are appearing here plural. So usually we will think that the auxiliary should be according to the nearest subject, sisters, but you should not forget it that if the subject is intervened by the phrase and the words which had described here, if you will see these words with, as well as, in addition to, accompanied by, together with, no less than, these words should be in your mind. When they will come after the subject, you will have to keep in mind that verb should be used according to the first subject, and that subject is singular and Jack is singular. So we have to use here is, not are. Other, daddy as well as my brothers is enjoying the party. In the beginning you are able to see daddy, a single person, as well as my brothers. Brothers are here appearing plural, more than one brother. So intervening word that is used between daddy and brothers is as well as. So if the intervening word has arrived and the subject in the beginning is singular, and if you have this rule in your mind, you should use single auxiliary according to daddy, not according to brothers. If, let us suppose, if we are going to change like my sisters accompanied by my father is enrolling in PCC. My sisters, plural form, my sisters accompanied by my father is enrolling in PCC. What should be the form of the verb? It is clear that the subject that used in the beginning is plural, and that's why the verb must be used plural. If we are going to interchange my brothers as well as daddy, dash enjoying the party, my brothers, first subject here used is my daddy, and after that as well as my first sentence or first subject used here my brothers, and after that we are going to use daddy as well as daddy. And in that situation the brothers are plural, and so we should have the plural verb. My brothers as well as my daddy are enjoying the party. So students, I'll have to stop here with these 4 rules and hope that these rules are very clear to you all. Once again, I would like to recall the rules what we have learned. First of all, we learned that you should be always taken as in the form of plural subject, and that's why the verb that should be used with the you should always be plural. Second, we learn that when the sentences start with here and there, the auxiliary verb should be used according to the subject which comes after them. If the subject is plural, we should use plural verb. If the subject is singular, we should use singular verb. Third, we learn that if the two subjects, one singular, another plural, is added with neither nor or either or, in that situation, the verb should be used according to the nearest subject of the verb. The subject which will be near to the verb will decide which auxiliary verb should be used. And the fourth, we learn that if the singular subject is followed by intervening words or the phrases that had described here as well as in addition to, accompanied by, together with, no less than, etc. In that situation, the verbs should be used according to the first subject. If it is singular, the verb must be singular, and if it is going to carry plural, must be plural. Verb must be plural. So hope that it's clear to you all, and in next video we will learn many more rules about the subject verb agreement. And so bye, keep yourself safe, happy, healthy, and we'll meet in the next class. With the hope and the blessing of God, we all will be fine. Thank you.